hot. Hey, everybody. Long time no see. Yes, I look like crap. But if I would have waited until I did my makeup and my hair and all that, I wouldn't be on here once again. So, and I know this lot, I still haven't been able to do anything with it. I haven't seen y'all in a while. A lot has been going on, guys. It's been well, a pretty trying year for me, literally a whole year now. I'll answer a few questions on some emails that I've gotten, and I there's no way I could get to all of them, guys, because um, there was just so many, and I am so sorry. I have just not been in the mood to do this lately. But hopefully, well, and on top of all that too, my other computer crashed on me, literally just crashed. And where I'm living, as I told y'all, the internet reception isn't that good. So I hope this is going to come out okay. And I know it's extremely early in the morning for most people or late at night, depending on how you look at it. Okay. I decided, and don't ask me how I came to this, because that's just what I do. I sit around and I think. And it could be because in the last year and because of my massive heart attack, being so close to death, it kind of gets you to thinking a lot different than you normally did before about everything. Everything is just different when something like that happens to you. So, um, in a way, it kind of made me step back and maybe think too much about my past, too much about mistakes. I guess it could be a form of shadow work in some things that I thought I had dealt with, and evidently not all of them. Not to mention those of you that have been with me for a long time. Well, ever since I had my channel, started my channel, know that I had a pretty good scare with my health too. I don't know. I still to this day don't know exactly what happened, but I do know that at one time it was a lot worse than what the doctors were saying. I just felt it in my core being. We know our own bodies. And once again, by whatever force, I'm still here. So, but the last year has been pretty challenging. I don't breathe well. Of course, I smoke. That's probably 90% of it. And but it was the breathing to where I don't know how to describe it. If you've ever not been able to breathe and not breathe well, then you know what I'm talking about. But it affects everything, your daily activities, every single thing. It affected my jobs, and it's kind of like a tower moment. Everything starts falling apart because you can't make money. So therefore, we all know people say money ain't everything, and it isn't, but it's most of it. You've got to have it. You've got to have it to put a roof over your head, to eat, to stay warm or cool, or drive your car. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So whenever you don't have that cash flow coming in, it compounds the problem. It adds more. And from then on, it just seems to get worse and worse and worse. And then with my health, and I couldn't even go outside and walk with my son and my daughter-in-law when they'd come see me, or my grandson, for very long. And then all of a sudden, it was almost like it lasted exactly a year. They had me on breathing treatments. I have still have an inhaler. Um, uh, I cannot explain it, and all of a sudden, I'm okay. Knock on wood. Um, I still use my inhaler every once in a while, not very often at all, and I haven't had to actually do a use my nebulizer in quite a while. So all these health issues got me to thinking, okay, and I know this isn't necessarily a witchy thing, but it kind of is. It depends on how you look at it. Okay, cryogenics. Believe it or not, I I have been thinking a lot about that. There's a lot of questions about it, morally, health wise. But y'all, it's new age, you know. Uh, those of us, especially around my age, say that, in their mid to late 50s, in our lifetimes, just ours alone, um, look how many things we are seeing, new inventions. Um, well, I could go on. I mean, there's literally hundreds of them that somebody that even our grandparents may, not have ever thought of, or even imagine that they'd see. Um, so when you think about cryogenics, okay, now here's the medical side of me going to come out for a little bit. I can't help it. Okay, death is in place. Um, Life and death go hand in hand, right? Okay, everything has to die. This is what we are, Well, and in witches, we think of death a different way than most people. It may be the death of one thing, but it's the beginning of another. Whatever your belief system is, whether you go to Summerland, whether you believe in reincarnation, this self that you have right now, this meat sack, will one day wear out. Okay. Um, so would you want, if you had the opportunity and the money to preserve yourself? Hmm. Well, that's what cryogenics is. Um, some people preserve. I'm just going to call it preserving. Some people call it freezing. Some call it vitralization. I think that's the word. Vitralization. Yeah. Uh, I'll just call it preserving, because that's what they do. Okay. To make a long process, and you can look this up on YouTube. There's doctors talking about it. They're showing, and there's actually already people in. Uh, I like to call it homeostasis, because that's what it is. Your body has stood still. It has the insides, the outside, everything is made to stand still, which is what stasis is. Um, I didn't realize that they have a certain, I forget what it's called. I knew I would, but I can't remember, all of it. Um, they put antifreeze, basically. It's a human antifreeze in your body. Okay. The reason being because in order to preserve cells, we have all these teeny tiny little atoms and cells that we're made up of. Billions and billions of them make up this meat sack we walk around in. Um, if even one of those can't do its job, it may alter the entire uh, body. It could, So they don't freeze you, as everybody will say. It may be a quick way, you could say frozen in time. That's a good thing. But your body, you'd have to read up on it. This is my opinion of it. This is my way of putting it to y'all to where you can understand it. Um, you're preserved. The antifreeze goes in your body. It preserves the cells from, uh, in a way, freezing. Uh, it's kind of a catch-22 because you can say freezing, but that's not the politically correct term of it. Okay, so that's why I say preserving. But you want them at a certain temperature, yes, but it's not freezing because there's no ice crystals forming on your cells. If the ice crystals form, that's what causes the decay. It causes frostbite, and things like that. Okay, now in this form of, it's like being put on, uh, what was that? Anyway, it's kind of like being put on dry ice. Um, just a really quick rundown about it. Uh, it's not on your ID, your driver's license. You know how now they'll have whether you're an organ donor or not. I think it should be, but this is something that would already be paid for, and your family or anybody would already know probably. Um, say, okay, this person's been diagnosed with cancer. There is in cryogenics in the cryo chamber, that was 2 years old, is 2 years old. Both of her parents are doctors, and she had brain cancer. So they are preserving her until there is a cure for this cancer. Okay. So one is diagnosed with this. You go through this. Okay. Now, what would you decide to do? Yeah, everybody kind of wants to live forever, but then, me as a witch, as a spiritual person, um, and the life I've had, um, I mean, I'm kind of curious about what's next. I mean, who really wants to stay in this mess forever? And plus, it's just not natural. Um, People come and people go, and if everybody decides to start doing this, imagine our population. Granted, not everybody. In fact, there's probably, and when I tell y'all how much it costs, you're going to be amazed because it's not near what I thought it would be, but it's still up there enough to where most people, um, wouldn't be able to afford it. Um, so there's your distinguishing line. Uh, there's a lot of controversy about it. It is going on though. It literally is happening. There's a company called Alcor. You can look them up online, and you can research all these cryogenics that you would like to, and find out more about it. Um, you can have your whole body preserved or just your head. If you have a diseased body, um, that's beyond whatever, I don't know what their circumstance may be. For one, it's cheaper. You know, you have the same head, wake up with a different body. uh, the only thing is, where are they going to get these bodies from? The people that couldn't afford to be preserved, right? Or just didn't want to be. Now, where does that ethical decision come in? Now, are we going to have a thing on our organ donor card that says, yes, you can have our whole body? Maybe that's where, those that are, donated to science would come in the picture. I don't know. there's a lot of questions and a lot of research. It's not as simple as just, you know, hurry up, put her to sleep, you know, save her before she completely dies, or right at the moment or right after the moment of death. It has to be within a certain amount of time. Just like if you're receiving a heart transplant, per se, I'm just using that organ. Um, the very second that that person is pronounced dead, say the heart's still beating, okay, they know before you go in there whether you're an organ donor or not. Um, that saves time. You know, they don't have time to go say, okay, well, go get me that chart over there and let me look this up, go through page and page to find out where the section is, which it's usually in the very front of the book. But anyway, uh, okay, yes, this person is an organ donor. That even 5 or 10 minutes that it took to do that could cause that heart to not be relevant to another human body. So it has to be very quick. And that's what they do. They immediately grab the ice, put them on ice until, you know, start intubating them where there's air going in their lungs so the lungs don't decay and, you know, uh, become basically not usable. Automatic preservation starts right then and there of the body, of the cells. You don't want the cells to die. So it has to be a very quick process. Hurry up, get this and that done, get the antifreeze. And that when they put the antifreeze in you, it's like being embalmed. I don't know if any of you know what it's like, what they do whenever they embalm someone, but they usually put those huge needles in the vein, and one over here, one's pulling out blood while the other one's automatically pumping in the embalming fluid. Same process with the antifreeze. And that is what they call it, antifreeze. That's what they use. I'm sure it's medical grade antifreeze. And then they keep you asleep. See, now this is where this and one other thing is where I see complications. Okay, you have to be kept asleep. You have like a type of anesthesia, propanol. Okay, how often does that have to be administered to keep you asleep? You don't want to wake up in the middle of cryogenics. I'm pretty damn sure. You know, uh, uh, it's just really interesting to me how they would do that. That will be someone's specific job. Kind of like me now going around, you know, on med passes and giving medications to the residents and the patients. That's my job. I go around and I do that. Okay. Somebody will be job to keep administering this propanol to these people in cryogenic chambers. Uh, Now, the ones that I've seen, and what's even more amazing is, you know, in our lifetimes, as I said, we've seen a lot of things come and go, inventions. We even have electric cars now, some hovering vehicles, crafts, whatever you want to call them. We've been to the moon, you name it. Okay, so why not preserve the human body? Okay, like I said, you can get into the moral or ethical part of it. You know, as with anything else, it's going to boil down to the person's preference. Uh, Honestly, don't know if I'd want to do it or not. I'm curious, and I should have done this video way earlier when people were awake so I could chat with you about it. Um, as far as the pricing goes, it's only $200,000. And I say only because, yes, that is still quite a bit of money, but it is not near what I thought it would cost. And eventually, you know, in time, that cost may even come down. Some insurance companies are even paying for it. There's payment plans that you, just like a funeral plan, you know, you can go pick out your own casket and whatever and start paying on a funeral before you even go. They have those plans and your life insurance policies, and um, I don't know. I haven't ever had the option on any insurances that I have gotten that says, do you want to insure for cryogenics? Who knows? It may be that way, but it's not that expensive. $200,000 for to preserve you for goodness knows how long, till whenever, um, is not that much money. 80,000 if you just want your head preserved. Yeah, you can have your head put on somebody else's body. Once again, where are those bodies going to come from? I don't know, but I mean it's pretty interesting. I understand, this pair that's the doctors wanting to save their little girl. Um, but that little girl, unless they're going to be, in cryogenics themselves, if they go on, then that little girl's going to, just wake up like a test tube baby, I would think. That's not what it is, but that's kind of what popped in my head. The cryo chambers, uh, that's what I got off on a whole different subject. But we've seen all these space shows. We've seen Avatar. We've seen all the can't remember names of all of them, but all the space movies to where you see people sleeping in these chambers. The ones that like Star Trek, you know, um, when they're going to a whole different galaxy and it's going to take 40 years to get there, people go to sleep in the cryo bed. Okay. Uh, and now it's reality, people. It's flipping reality, man. And say, okay, first of all, you're awakened. Talk about an awakening. uh, just try to fathom what this world will look like to you if you've been asleep for 100 years. Yeah. First of all, would you be able to navigate through it properly? Would you be able to fit in? Would you be able to do, heaven only knows what they're going to be doing in 100 years? All the people you knew and loved gone, unless they decide to be, preserved with you. Um, there's a lot of questions. It definitely come down to a lot of thought that you would have to put into it. It's not just like, okay, here's the money, preserve me. I don't know. And I think it messes up with the natural balance. If everybody can do this in our population, it's already outrageous. Um, if people don't have to die, then it's going to get awful crowded. You know, I don't know. What do y'all think? Uh, but yeah, it's not freezing. Just in case anybody, just to clear that statement up. They don't necessarily freeze you, but there's all kinds of things that y'all can go look at and study up on it. Not that you'd want to, or even interested in it, but I like to keep up with things. And here lately, I've had a lot of time on my hands, so it kind of makes me uh, I'm always curious anyway. I'm always surfing through the web and doing stuff. So this really interested me, and I thought, I wonder what my viewers would think of that. Uh, yep, still smoking. But anyway, yeah, leave me what y'all think about that. If you would do it, if you don't want to do it, if you think it's right, if you think it's wrong, just your opinion. Um, I'm kind of undecided, kind of stuck between. I don't think I want to come back here anyway. I mean, this has been a hell of a run for me. This first go around, I don't. I don't really think I want to do it all again. But um, also, while I'm thinking about it, thank y'all, the ones that have stayed, subscribed to me. I know that I have been gone a while. Um, Thank you for the ones that of you that have, stuck beside me. And this time of year has always been rough for me. And I don't know that it's necessarily Christmas or Yule, whatever you want to call it. Um, I just kind of get depressed, I always have. I have seasonal depression. I think it's the cold. I don't like cold. It's dreary. I know it's necessary, but I just um, could do without it. Especially now that I'm older, it makes me hurt, and I just don't. Everything's dreary and dark, and kind of being preserved itself. The trees, the leaves, and nothing's out. Everything comes back, yes, but uh, I don't know. I can't explain it. Some years are worse for me than others. This whole year for me has already been a mess. So, and to answer one question, and if I think of any more right now, I have them written down, but I wasn't gonna use this video to answer questions, but I will answer one because it was. I'm sure a lot of people would think it. Okay. And I've probably said this on other videos. Okay, people. Yes, we are witches. But that does not mean that we're not susceptible to the same old human follies as everybody else. We are still blood, bone, have our souls. We are just like you, except up here. Um, or I say you, the others. The others sounds like a horror movie. There is a horror movie called The Others, isn't there? Anyway, um, we too go through bad times, hard times, sickness. Um, because this one person asked me, well, you know, you're a witch, heal yourself. Okay, well, I guess I have in a way. I kept myself alive in a way. Um, but that doesn't necessarily go back to me being a witch. Um, and it doesn't mean that somebody put a hex on me. That's what got me. Is do you feel like you've been cursed or hexed? No, I do not. Um, Things just happen to humans. We get older. Things start wearing out. Um, as I said, this meat sack gives out. We're not meant to stay in it forever, which brought me to my cryogenics. Okay. Um, it's kind of like a circular thought. You can go round and around and around and around with it. It all depends on how you look at things, and that's a lot of what the craft is. It's faith, it's your belief in that yes, you can do this. Yes, you can heal yourself. And now I admit there are some times when it's not possible. You know, um, Even the doctors, with all our technology, can't help some people. And in my field, I see that. I have seen that for years and years and years. And no matter how much they prayed to whatever god or goddess, they still went on to the next realm. Um, that's the way it's supposed to be. Which took me back to cryogenics. You see what I'm trying to say. The circle of life isn't supposed to be interrupted. Um, like with me, yes, my heart, you know, had an attack. um, if the if I hadn't gotten immediate medical attention, yes, I would have. I did die, um, but I would have stayed there if you know. I hadn't been right there by the hospital. Well, a lot of things fell into place for me to overcome that. And I had some damn good doctors, um, heart doctors, and the which are cardiologists, as y'all know. Um, I just wouldn't be here. Now, that's different because, you know, just because I had a blood clot smash into it, doesn't mean that that's going to happen again. Or it could happen again. It could happen to anyone. But there's a medication for it, and I can live a perfectly, healthy, happy life from here on out. I got lucky because there was no part of my heart that was damaged to the point to where um, it couldn't function the same as it was before. Uh, a lot of people during a heart attack, they will have some sort of valve failure, or it could be a million different little things um, that would cause them to have damage to their heart. So therefore, they would have to be on more medications and a stricter doctor's orders, and to preserve their life, to continue after a heart attack. I was just very fortunate, and it even baffled my cardiologist because he was like, "Wow." He literally came in there and said, "I cannot believe that you're sitting here looking at me and talking to me," um, because my mind should have, you know, that should have been all for me. But I'm here. But if I had have, okay, the rest of my body is just fine. I don't have any more disease. Uh, my brain, except for being old, is okay. And a little forgetful, but that comes with age. Um, I would have been a good candidate for cryogenics. Okay. Now, if your body, that would have been a total body preservation. Um, say you were full of disease, a type of cancer, or if heart failure, kidney failure, I don't know, any major organ just doesn't work anymore. Then you might consider just uh, your head being preserved. And even to me in this day and age, and as open minded as I am when I say that, it still sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? Say it. I'm going to have my head preserved. Doesn't it remind you of the old Doctor Who shows with the head sitting in the glass talking? I don't know why that is what came through my head, but that's what came through my head just then. The picture flashed. Uh, I don't know, guys. What really, I really wish I'd have saved this for a time when everybody was awake. And I don't know. It's just got me scratching my head. Huh? I wonder. There's many downs about it though. And okay, the kicker. Here's the kicker. They can put you to sleep, uh, preserve you, whatever you want to call it, freeze you. You can call it that. That isn't the actual process, but it can be called that. Some people, that's their best way of putting it. Sometimes I still say it. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. It would definitely be something to think about, something to consider. Think of us, okay, say us witches. This is just an example. Uh, a lot of people don't believe in us or what we do, or that it's even feasible that we can do it. Okay. What if you go to sleep? Say I go to sleep and in 100 years I'm awoken and everybody's flying around on broomsticks. Everybody has herbs and stuff in their house, but except for the flying on the broomstick thing, back as I've talked about before, back centuries ago, the wise women, that's why they called them wise women. They knew things about these herbs and things about metaphysical things that nobody else knew, you know. And now, I mean, like us nowadays on YouTube, coming on here and actually talking about who we are, what we actually are, and not these, green women with big warts on their noses and, out to kill children. Now that everybody is more accepting and there's more witches every day, I see them all the time popping up. Um, who's to say that this won't just become a whole new way of life? People will eventually learn. Everybody will know how to communicate without talking. I mean, these movies that we see, these sci-fi movies, um, could very easily come to fruition. I mean, whoever thought, even in the 1920s, that anybody would walk on the damn moon? You know, and that's just one little tiny drop in the bucket of what mankind has accomplished. And there's no telling what our brains are actually capable of. You know, um, evolution plays a huge role in it. Caveman, do you think for 1 minute they didn't use toilet paper? You know, there was no such thing as hygiene to keep infection and disease down. Um, this was all learned by trial and error. Um, so mankind is constantly evolving. You see the pictures of these little aliens that are drawn. Everybody depicts the alien as some little short dude, no hair on his body, a big head, tiny body, huge eyes. Your typical little alien, like the typical witch was drawn years ago. Who's to say? And they didn't ever speak at all. Some of the movies you see, these aliens aren't speaking at all. They're looking and they're talking to each other just by looking at each other. Um, the evolution has pretty much taken away their vocal cords because they're not needed anymore. Um, your mind can go everywhere. Nothing is impossible in your mind. Just because we can't, um, well, a lot of people can't physically touch it. It's not malleable. You can't. You can think it, but you can't make it. You know what I mean? I hope y'all know what I'm trying to say. I'm really not an idiot. I'm just not very good at putting out what's going on up here. Honestly, this up here goes way faster than I could even get it out of here. And by the time I do get it out, I've, got 30 subjects into one sentence, and it doesn't make any sense to a lot of people. But yeah, um, I would be kind of curious to see. I mean, it'd be tempting. I mean, nobody wants to die. Think about it. I mean, we live our whole lives. A lot of people do, thinking about the afterlife. This is why Egyptians and the Greeks, people in their forms of burial, but especially the Egyptians, have the pyramids and the afterlife uh, sarcophaguses, and you know our modern day Indians, the American Indian, even they're the same way. Everybody believes in an after here, Now, where we go is up for debate with every culture, with every person. Um, but even the Indians, the American Indians here, right down the road from me, there's an Indian burial ground. And, they have the little roofs that go over the graves. And inside those, there might be shoes, there might be a bowl and a spoon, um, no telling. And those are meant for the afterlife, for that person to use in the afterlife. Now, where that came from, how they were taught that, it's handed down from thousands of years of ancestry. It makes you wonder, and I've probably said this before. Um, you know, the Vikings were the awesome seamen. They were the ones that, as far as I know, were traveling across oceans and seas long before anybody else did. Imagine the culture shock that they seen whenever they figured out there was even other people on the earth. Um, Makes you wonder how them people got there in the first place. You can go all the way back to Pangea when there was one big huge continent, and then when it started breaking apart is when people got separated. You could look at it that way. It's a rabbit hole that you can go down, and there's all different possibilities. Um, you don't have to be no big scholar. Just let your brain, your mind, do what it does. We're all curious. This is why um, the earliest mankind, as far back as we found evidence of earlier man, the bones, where they lived, archaeology. Um, you could tell that even the very uneducated, not very smart at all, common sense or anything else, believed that there was something else after here, just by what you find around them. Makeshift little statues, paintings on the walls of caves. It seems to have been programmed into us, before we got here, that this isn't all. This isn't everything. Um, it's just kind of like I don't know, a spot. I don't know. And then you talk to an atheist, okay? I've even tried to understand theirs, and I can understand it. I can see where they form their opinions. Um, there's nothing else there. You're here. You happen to evolve. Be created by mud, and you crawled out of the ocean one day, and we started reproducing, and here we are. We're no different than any of the other animals or even insects on the earth. We're here. We die, and that's the end of it. Um, there's no more after that. And okay, well, that could be it too. Nobody knows. You hear all these stories um, about these people that have died and came back to life, and that they seen this and they seen that. Um, I don't denounce at all that that's what they seen. Uh, and please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there's no heaven. I'm not saying that there's no this or that. This is not the debate here. What I'm going to say is, from a medical point of view, from the studies, and any doctor will tell you, whether they believe in God or not, the body goes through a process when it is dying, when it is exiting the building. Um, your brain, okay? Think of your brain as this huge, wonderful, well, it's not huge, but vast um, computer, okay? Okay, computers have electricity, right? Okay. Your body has a form of electricity. It's not electricity that you see when you flip on your damn light. No, and y'all don't get all stupid on me. Electricity meaning communication, the process of communicating and pushing something forward. Your cells, every cell in your body communicates, okay, with all the rest of them. This is how and why our bodies work the way they do. And you can even look at all your cells as little bitty tiny different entities if you wanted to. Okay. This is what I'm talking about, going down in rabbit holes, people. And I can do it with you because I'm just that way. Your little tiny cells all communicating with each other. Okay. This is your red blood cells. This is why you have red blood cells, why you have white blood cells. Okay. Your red blood cells keep everything moving. It gives you energy, do all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to give you a full anatomy lesson. You got your white blood cells. Okay. Now, when anything goes wrong in your body, okay, signals start going off freaking everywhere. It's like its own little computer. There's a commercial on that, I think it's, I don't know about sneezing or some cold medicine. It actually hits home because it's more correct than people give it credit for. You see all these little dudes sitting around like it's in a space station. They're going, okay, she's about to blow. Oh, it's on the cheese eating when the little girl's eating the big piece of cheese on the rocket platform. Anyway, okay. It's a commercial and it's really cute, and it's not far from the truth at all. You got all these little dudes in there going, okay, she's about to blow. She's about to eat the other piece of cheese. We can't handle no piece of cheese. They're going to send somebody down to the digestive tract to make sure constipation doesn't set in. Your your body's like this huge major space station. Look at it that way. Guys, this is why I love being in the field I'm in. I haven't, I didn't go on further than where I'm at. I'm good. I'm okay with that. But I study all the time. And the human body has always fascinated me because it's so complex. It's so strong, but yet so weak. It contradicts itself. Yes, it does. And it does every day. Um, when one thing goes wrong, as I said, you've got all these little signals going off. Okay. This little cell's telling your white blood cells, hey, wake up. You got a job to do. You got to get in there and we got to get these white blood cells under control. We're going to develop leukemia. Okay. The white blood cells tell the red blood cells, okay, we need B12, we need iron, we need this and we need that to preserve, to keep the iron in so we don't become anemic. We need this to sustain ourselves. Your cells are thinking for themselves. That's my opinion. They are their own little beings. They know, and they conversate with each other. When there's pain involved, your brain will send a signal um, that fast. It's lightning fast. Say you stump your toe. Okay, now you've got what? 2 seconds? After you've stumped your toe, you've got about 2 seconds. You're already bracing yourself for that because you know it's about to hurt, right? When you hit your toe, it's not an instantaneous, right then hurt. It's a split second later or even 1 second later. Because before it's even actually hurting, you find yourself going, bam, there's the pain. Okay. That's how fast signals travel. It's a nonstop neurons moving all over your body, your skin. This the largest organ we have, your skin, has a million little things crawling all over it just to preserve it. You ever look at a piece of skin underneath a microscope at a very, very high level? Do it. It might freak you out, but it's you. It's what you are made up of. A bunch of neurons, atoms, electrons, lightning, like electricity, communication between your brain and your big toe. That's quite a ways actually, but it gets there split second. See what I mean? It's just fascinating. Um, this is why I don't understand how come people don't believe in witches. maybe, and we, no, we do not ride around on brooms. Um, but there have been people known to levitate. So tell me how they just raise themselves up. It's documented on camera, and these people weren't even witches. They just knew how to do it. Somehow they could, the Buddhist monks, how they can go into such a deep meditation, and other people can too, um, that their heart rate drops so low that nobody knows how they do it and sustain themselves. Yeah. So basically, nothing is impossible, right? Okay, then why are people so against witches? Why are people, I get shit all the time. Oh, you can't make that happen. You can't cause that to happen. Okay, well, if you know how to manipulate energies, use the universe, pull this and pull that, and use all this, yes, you can. And one day, quite possibly, before too long, everybody will be able to do that. It'll just be second nature. As I said, can you imagine one of the cavemen uh, that sat around and watched the dinosaurs run around? Which, on that subject, actually, there were no dinosaurs when cavemen were walking around. Um, that's a whole different subject. There may have been smaller ones like we have now. Blah blah. Everything's evolving all the time, but there weren't T-Rexes chasing cavemen around and all that. Okay. Um, when the asteroid hit the Earth and destroyed the dinosaurs, um, there were no mankind had not stepped a foot on the Earth yet. If there has been any proof, I haven't seen it, and I haven't seen any documentaries on it. All the scientists feel the same way, that mankind did not exist till after the big boom, the blast, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, this is what I'm saying. Nothing's impossible. Um, we have a lot of very smart people, and I say smart because they're intelligent in that way. Um, you can be smart in a lot of different ways. You can have common sense. You can have street smarts. You can, you know, mankind tends to adapt to his surroundings. Even go so far as to evolve to their surroundings. Even just people that live in different states. People in California that are used to the warmth all the time would not like it, or maybe be able to even stand being up in Washington or anywhere it gets extremely cold. You see what I'm saying? What I'm trying to get at? Um, it would take them a while to adapt to it. It's like anything else you adapt to. Humans are very versatile, very smart yet destructive um, animals. Um, so it does not surprise me at all that they have created a way thinking that they can live forever. I guarantee you, anything that is against the universe, against God, against the way things are supposed to be, uh, isn't going to work out. Uh, Not saying it's not going to. I'm just saying there's a lot of work um, yet to be done. And the doctors and the scientists know this. Comes to the ending of the cryogenic chat. There is no way to wake them up yet. Yeah. They can put you to sleep and you can stay there till, whenever. Because they can't safely wake you up yet. They don't know how long that'll take. You could be in cryogenics, for 1,000 years. The world probably won't even be here. You know what I'm saying? Of course, they're pretty smart. Probably won't take them that long to figure out how to wake people up and uh, revive them. Um, it'd be like starting up machinery again, that hasn't moved in a long time. Can you imagine the muscle? Um, it wouldn't be decayed because they're in stasis. They won't get any worse, but they won't get any better. Does that make sense? It stays the same. That's what stasis means. It stays still. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. It just baffles me. Um, and people say, I thought this was a witch channel. It is. But it also correlates with the witch because, I don't know, even 100 years ago, nobody would have thought this cryogenics was possible. You know, that's the kind of thing that you've seen on Star Wars or some kind of Doctor Who show, or, some kind of sci-fi stuff. And now it's really happening. It's really happening, and you can look it up. Look up. Well, you can just probably top in cryogenics. There's doctors on there that can tell you about it. They'll show you the machines, and they're not the ones that you would think, or that you see on the shows where it has the glass front and you can see the body in there naked. Most of them are naked or have uh, an umbilical cord per se tied to them. Uh, they are floating in a liquid, uh, but that's not how it is. The liquid's actually inside of you. You're just in a chamber, very, very cold. Most of them, I guess the way I could put it is that they look like hot water heaters. Those are what the chambers look like. They're all sealed in. You can't see nothing. They're stainless steel, because you don't want the damn things rusting, you know. But all the contents inside are neutralized, is what the word is. You can say frozen. That's not the actual politically correct word for it, but it's neutralization, is the process taking place. But it's pretty interesting. What would you do? You want to go to sleep and wake up 1,000 years later? Would you be shocked? And you got to think of, I'm pretty sure, just a hypothesis here. I'm pretty sure that the problem that they're having with waking them up is the shock factor, if I had my guess, because the body, has been asleep for so long. Um, it's not like, you'd have to do it slowly, I would think, to prevent any kind of shock. It would be not very good to have wanted to preserve your body all them years, and then once they per se wake you up, um, you truly die from shock because your body can't handle that kind of that quickly. So I personally would think that they would have to do it very slowly. They don't just you know drain all the antifreeze out of you, put your blood back in, and everything's fine. It's not that simple at all. That's another thing. Um, the blood, the blood has to be gotten from, either they've drained your own blood out before, but how are you going to freeze blood? I guess you could. I don't know. I need to research that. Or if they give you blood from blood banks, if it's the same blood you had before, um, your body, I don't know. I really don't think that you can run on a different type of blood than you were used to. It's like during blood transfusions, it's pretty, you really kind of have to know what blood type I don't know. There's another thing. See how my brain works, you guys? And before I know it, I've got all these subjects I want to research, and then 15 minutes, unless I write it down real fast, they all leave my head and I forget. But this is not a scientific channel. It kind of is, because witches, you can look at us as types of scientists or put us in the scientific category. A lot of metaphysical stuff going on, a lot of uh, things going, us moving stuff around that nobody else can see. So I guess that could be scientific, but you know what I'm saying, it's a witchy channel and it will remain to be so. I'm just curious what y'all think about it, and y'all being witches, most of the people that watch my channel anyway, what you think about this procedure, if you would want to do it or not. Okay, well, I guess I'll go now. I'm going to see if this video worked. I sure hope it did, because I don't want to have to go through it all again. Just the internet out here is really bad where I live, and but this is a new computer, so hopefully that'll help. But I love you guys. I miss you guys, and I am glad to be back. I will try to come back on here tomorrow. I'm going to talk about Yule. It's that time of year. And hopefully my cat's down there at the other end of the table moving it, and so this computer's shaking. We're not having an earthquake. Lexi, chill out down there, Missy. Anyway, I'll let y'all go. Love you guys. Miss you guys. Coming on here is my therapy, and I miss it so much. I really enjoy speaking with y'all. Talk to you later.